Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm going to do a quick tabletop review here of these two very similar but different knives from Sanrenmu. This here is a Sanrenmu Land Model 9046 and this is a Sanrenmu Land 9047. They're both liner locks, they're both made for right-handed carry, they both have G10 scales, they both have glass breakers, seatbelt cutters, and they both have these very interesting blades. It's what they call a Besh wedge type blade profile, made with Sandvik 12C27 steel. Let me look at the 9046. You get that Besh wedge blade, you get a 3, 5, 7, and 9mm wrench built into the handle. You get a seatbelt cutter, and this is a locking seatbelt cutter no less. And you get a glass punch, and there's a bottle opener built into the top of the blade. G10 scales, liner lock like I said, very good lockup over here. If you want to make this a little more secure, you got this lever, kind of like the safety on a Remington 700. You just flip that forward, and it engages the liner lock so you cannot close the blade. It is reversible, so you can do tip up or tip down carry, but right-handed carry only. Very similar knife out there by Mantis. It's called the Pry Knife 2, except it lacks the wrench. And then QB has a slightly smaller version of this. I got one right here. It uses a little bit cheaper steel, HCR14 MOV. This particular model is a little bit wider because it also has a saw blade that locks and aluminum handles. However, the wrench insert, the insert for the lanyard loop, and the pocket clips, and the window punch, all exactly the same. I wouldn't be surprised if these are made in the same family. Same family. Made in the same factory. Same family, kind of close too. That one's like a big brother to the little brother. The 9047 has all the same tools, except the seatbelt cutter is not locking. Instead, they put it on the end over here, which I actually prefer. A little further away, it'll get better grip on the tool. Kind of like the Benchmade Triage. They got it on the end. They also add a couple other things here. You got a flathead screwdriver with a bottle opener. You got a number 1 Phillips, and this one's in line, so it's easy to use, unlike some of the other Sanrenmu knives I've seen. And they give you a locking saw blade, hacksaw, with a file on both sides, a flathead screwdriver, and a metric ruler for people who don't want to measure things in America. A little more jimping on the top of the blade here as opposed to the 9046. I like that. Of course, that means you can't swap these blades out. They're not interchangeable with each other. The pivot pins, the pocket clip, the glass punch, all that seems to be, however, even the wrench. The 9047 does have a safety lock feature that automatically engages, kind of like some of the CRKT auto locks. So you gotta pull that lever back in order to depress the liner and close the blade. And you also get a saw blade. This is a locking saw blade. One thing I don't like about it is it milled out this metal over here, so that could make it a little bit weaker. But you know, if I gotta cut something with a saw, I got a real saw to use. I'm not gonna rely on this. Good to have as a backup, however. Obviously, they don't look exactly like this from the factory. I added some glow-in-the-dark tape over there. That way, when I'm working the night shift, I can clip this on my boots, and if we catch any calls at night, I can find my boots and my knife easily. There it is. G10 scales, obviously a very thick, heavy-duty, stout knife. If you look at the scales over here, the 9047 scales are about half as thick as the 9046, so I think that's how they keep some of that width down, because when you look at it, it's not that much wider than the 9046. Another thing I did too was I reversed my thumb stud. I put the wide end on the outside as opposed to the inside. I find that makes it a lot easier to deploy the knife. Now there are a couple of knives out there that are very similar to these, and let me pull some of them out for you. Victorinox rescue tool. They got the Sanrenmu 9019. I got my Benchmade Triage, and just for scale, little Victorinox Swiss Army knife here. 9019 is probably the closest to the 9047 over here. If you look at it, they're both pretty wide. They both have the glass punch. They both have a pocket clip. This one is only tip up carry. This one is only tip down. This one does have that nice conveniently placed seatbelt cutter, but they tried to make it a combination with this number 1 Phillips, and they didn't do a really good job of that, because if you look at it, it's not really conducive to long-term use. I mean, you might get like 2 or 3 turns before you start get tired of using this thing. Same combination slotted and bottle opener, and it also has a saw blade. Saw blade on this one I think is a little bit better. They made it super long. It is locking, and it protrudes out of the end here, just kind of like the glass cutter on the Swiss Army knife over here. Here's a rescue tool. We got the seatbelt cutter and the glass cutter. Of course, this guy's going to run you about 70 bucks. Benchmade triage, you're looking, well, you get this N680 steel, and that's good, but you're still looking at spending about 150 for one of these. If you go on blade forums, you can probably find somebody selling them in the personals for about 70 bucks. This guy, 40. It's a beater knife. If I lose it at a scene, I'm really not going to worry too much about it. This guy was about maybe 20 to 30, and this guy was also about 20-25 bucks. Here's an Osborne for size, and if you want to compare the thickness, I got my Kershaw Skyline over here. You can see there's a big difference there between the thickness of both of those knives. All in all though, I think the 9047 and 9046 are great knives. My 9046, I use this one at work. I keep it in my turnout pockets. I've already busted a couple car windows with it. I did bust up the end over here, so I had to take my Dremel to it and sand that smooth. That's why it's curved. But other than that, it's been holding up pretty well. Nice little knife for the price. Look for these on Amazon. So in conclusion, these are both pretty good knives. I would call them like a beater knife or a tool knife. They're from the same factory, same model line, but not exactly the same as you saw. Not all the parts are interchangeable. I do have an issue with the jimping on the back of this guy right over here. As you see, the spacer ride's kind of high. So the rear is how it looks like from the factory. That spacer ride's so high it doesn't allow the jimping to engage with your hand. So what I had to do is I had to take a chisel and shave it down over here towards the front to get a little bit better purchase. That's a non-issue on the 9047. Nice, good engagement right over there, very positive. Other thing I didn't like too is a seatbelt cutter. I kind of wish they put this guy at the end. Let me go ahead and pop this one out to compare. You know, it would have been so much better if they just did that in the first place with these two. There you go, get a good look at it right there. Still, 20-something bucks, and you ain't gonna cry if you lose it at a house fire, right? Not bad, and I'm looking forward to see what else Sanrenmu can bring out. Maybe the blade steel, you know, the 12C27, I'm happy with that. The Mantis knives, I think they use VG10 or they use S30V for theirs, and that's the reason why that thing is so darn expensive. I'm actually okay with the 12C27, but if they made this with S30V, you know, if they kept the price reasonable, I'd probably pick one out just to try it out. So if you guys at Sanrenmu are listening, if you can make this guy with slightly thinner scales like this, S30V, and maybe change the location of that seatbelt cutter, I think that makes for a really good practical survival knife or a rescue knife. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'll do more of these reviews if you like. I got a bunch of stuff I can compare. I got guns, backpacks, you name it. Heck, I got a Subaru sitting in my garage if you guys want to see a review on that. Alright, see y'all later.